waiting a few more minutes. No, where's? All right, I think this is legible for her.
Appears to be.
There we go.
Pretty unambiguous.
One day we were here.
Yeah, I recognize your across the street.
Some things used to happen on my butt. Right up.
It seems like that's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
How are you, Sharon? On your street? You know, Jerry Brown.
I was gonna.
I put it in yesterday. I put it on.
But there was wonderful.
Minor.
I think it was a 2019 bill.
What you do that?
Well, they died. Or are they on?
Yeah.
It might just.
I didn't see anything like
That's what happened. My dad had to
Well, hello.
Hi.
Long time no see.
I know, right? It's been forever.
Right. Let's put this up here. I want it on the shot, but it should pick up pretty well.
Okay.
long as everybody uses their big boy. Big boy.
So there's like nurses and stuff. They don't want to get parked in because they don't want to get parked in. So they usually park outside.
That's what I got.
Turn your variable back. Line up on the back.
So it's not really big, so his house is one of the big ones, but it doesn't look like it's not tall.
Oh, Thank you. Then we'll take you back as well.
Oh, the rainstorm, remember we were trying to do that press conference with those.
You mean where my high school
cars?
ever died? Did they get all the new one now?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they built the shutter box.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I do still have available seats here. Absolutely, if folks are in the. All right. I do appreciate your patience. We're going to be getting going very shortly here. If you want to, we're 2-3 minutes. We are going to have prepared remarks after an introduction from Flint City Council Vice President Candace Mushat. We will be hearing from Attorney General Dana Nessel, State Representative Jasper Martis, Sheriff Chris Swanson, and Lorena White of the Martis Luna Food Bank are our host here today. And then after we have heard from each of those 4 speakers, we'll be opening it up to questions from our representatives of the media today. Do me a favor, just raise your hand. There's 2 of you. It's not going to be a circus. I think we're going to be all right. We are most appreciative of questions on today's topic today out of respect for our guests and our hosts here. Feel free for germane follow-up, but again, I'll be able to get back to you guys, not a problem. Yeah?
I will ask the Attorney General about the board experience.
That's fine. All right, I think we are inside of 120 seconds from getting going here. And again, plenty of empty seats. We have all the reporters and folks that were coming, so make yourselves comfortable.
Appreciate knowing ahead.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo estamos? How's everybody doing? Good. We'd like to welcome you to the Martis Luna Food Pantry. We're really glad that you could make it here today. And we're going to kick it off by introducing our sheriff, Sheriff Swanson. Please give it up.
Thank you. So I taught Ryan Martis at the police academy. And Roger Lewin is one of the funniest Flint police officers that walked the beat. I know both of them. I knew Ryan's mother when she worked at the hospital, and his dad when he was at Goodrich. This is a place where people come for comfort because that's what they stood for. A few hours ago, I talked to a 57-year-old female. She pays $225 a month for Section 8 housing. She lives in Burton. Every month, she gets $208 from Supplemental Nutrition Assistance, also known as SNAP. Tomorrow, she's not getting that money. When I was talking to her, I said, so what's your plan? She was optimistic and said, well, we have a plan because I'm going to a church next week and I was able to get on the list. So I have a few days left and by next week, I'll be able to go and get that food. And I said, Kathy, you don't need to do that. Kathy's my sister. She's on full disability. She gets $995 a month. She doesn't live extravagant. She can't work. This is about human rights. So when I stand here as the sheriff, and I stand here as the emergency manager, I stand here also as a brother who's going to take care of his sister because government didn't. And I stand here to tell you that those on my right and on my left and those that are watching, we can find ways to make this partisan. It's not. It's American. We take care of people. If you try to camouflage this and confuse this as an immigration issue, when those that are here undocumented don't receive these benefits, we're still not letting people starve to death. That's not who we are. So tomorrow, when that clock ticks and people see that they don't have that money dropped and they've been communicating this every month, but it's not there tomorrow, you're going to see true despair kick in. But we're not going to let that settle. We're not going to be caught flat-footed. We're going to take care of our people in Genesee County, as we always done in the water crisis, during COVID, and whatever is needed. This is the arc. We take care of people who need something, whatever that is. So I have a couple messages, though. Number one, to the federal government. Do the right thing. You don't need to settle everything tomorrow, but do the right thing. Why wait for a court order to order you to feed the people of America and Michigan and this county? Do a supplemental resolution to say, you know what, for the first time, we cut SNAP benefits, but we're not going to let that happen. This is about people who are full-time and getting paid, senators and reps, but their staff isn't. There's people there that by the strike of a pen can make things happen. That's the first thing. Do the right thing, because your decisions by the pen trickle down to the people that we work with and live with and are related to us every day. Number two, I watched the Senate yesterday vote. 4 people denied. The Senate did the right thing in the state of Michigan by saying, we're going to at least step in and we're going to provide this little gap. We're waiting for the House to do the same thing so the governor can sign that. So at least Michigan's doing the right thing. Amen? Amen. That's right. I say that because the Bible said, when you till your fields and you get your crops, leave the corners for the widows and the orphans. Taking care of people is biblical. It's the right thing to do. And if they're not going to do it at the federal level, we can start here at the state. But that also means the county. So several days ago, in communication with the attorney generals and all those that are involved here, we didn't wait. We made sure that the people of this county knew that no matter what, you can count on your local leaders to step in and work with the Eastern Michigan Food Bank and G-Card and faith-based supplement providers across the county. We have a network that's built, that's on our website, where there's a live calendar of people that are coming into making sure that they have the ability to give food and you have the ability to give them food. There may be people who woke up today and never thought what it would be like to open up your refrigerator, your cupboard, and be nothing there. But 82,200 people in Genesee County are going to feel that. So maybe you want to be a part of the giving. You can go to that same calendar. You can find how can you go and buy extra so you can go and give to people that don't have a need. Just have a heart for people that may not look like you, believe like you, live like you, but they need to eat like you. And the final thing is to assure this county that we will have no issues. There will be no nonsense happening on any side because we have shown this country that we will walk together. We can't solve everything, but in honor of two people who lost their lives, we're going to make sure that we meet here for the right reasons, not for a campaign stop. Taking care of people is our job as public servants and as the sheriff in this county and an emergency manager, but more importantly, as a man who just has a heart for people. I promise you, I'm going to do my part. I just hope everybody else above me does the same. Thank you.
Come on, man, don't make me go after you. All right. It's good to be here, even though it's for a really upsetting topic. So earlier this week, I joined attorneys general and governors from 25 states in requesting a temporary restraining order and filing a lawsuit against the United States Department of Agriculture and Secretary Brooke Rollins for unlawfully suspending the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, for the duration of the federal government shutdown. Now, that case was argued yesterday in front of Judge Indira Talwani from the U.S. District Court of Massachusetts, and we are awaiting her opinion and her order with bated breath right now. It's great to be here with Representative Martis and, Sheriff Swanson and Lorena White from the Martis Luna Food Bank, who helped to feed nearly 5,000 families or 14,000 people already this year. And statistics show that 1 in 9 Americans are food insecure. And unfortunately, that's the scope of the problem with a fully funded SNAP program. Now, as most of you likely know, we took swift action when the USDA announced that SNAP benefits would not be paid out effective tomorrow, November 1st, leaving 42 million Americans to wonder how they're going to put food on the table next week. Here at home, SNAP supports 1.4 million Michiganders each and every month. And our lawsuit demands that the Trump administration utilize the contingency emergency funds that Congress has already appropriated to ensure SNAP benefits are not interrupted. Now, right now, if you visit the USDA website, you'll be met with a shockingly political and hostile message claiming that, quote, the well has run dry, but that is a lie. The 2024 congressionally authorized appropriation bill, as well as the 2025 continuing resolution, collectively designates a reserve $6 billion to, quote, carry out program operations. And according to legal documents filed by USDA just yesterday, approximately $5.25 billion of this fund remains available. Additionally, as of October 8th, the USDA had $23 billion in appropriated funds under Section 32 of the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1935, a farm subsidy program with statutory authority to transfer these funds to other programs. Where Congress has clearly spoken to provide that SNAP benefits should continue even during a government shutdown, the USDA does not have the authority to say otherwise. And based on the hearing yesterday, we remain very optimistic that the judge will grant us our temporary restraining order, and the judge indicated she would issue a quick ruling. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services believes it will take approximately 3 days to deposit SNAP funds onto Michigan bridge cards. So unfortunately, the remedy, even if it was ordered today, may not be quick enough for tomorrow's scheduled deposits. We also know that unfortunately the $5.2 billion remaining in the emergency fund is not enough to cover the nation's SNAP responsibilities for the month. So if a shutdown is not resolved, we may be back here again in a matter of weeks. But any pause in food benefits, even just for one day, will cause immediate harm to nearly 13% of our state. And I want to tell you a little bit more about who these people are. It's over 492,000 children, over 38,000 veterans. Seniors are 36% of our recipients. 51% of those households have a person with a disability. And despite claims that there are families who either refuse to work or are here with an illegal resident status, let me be abundantly clear, 78% of Michigan SNAP households include someone with an earned income. And every recipient must either be a U.S. citizen or have qualified non-citizen resident status. So don't believe the lies. These cuts are coming on the backs of rising inflation, higher grocery bills, and soon an increase in healthcare premiums. And it's also following record cuts to our food banks who work day and night to ensure that no one in our communities goes hungry, and who will be in more demand than ever come tomorrow. Food banks across the state will tell you that they've received significantly less USDA donated food this year than in years past. And since taking office, the Trump administration has cut or paused nearly $1 billion in money to support food banks and canceled thousands of USDA produce deliveries nationwide. And that includes a reported 3 million pounds of food that should have come to Michigan just through August alone. And while I believe in providing SNAP benefits as a moral issue, there's also an economic argument to make. The SNAP program supports over 375,000 jobs for American farmers, food distributors, and retailers. And every SNAP dollar spent in Michigan is a dollar in the pockets of our state's 10,000 SNAP-approved retailers. And that investment will go on to generate 154% return on investment for the surrounding communities. And in addition to that, by cutting off people's benefits like this, there's the real threat that we're going to need enhanced police protection because of potential retail theft if people get desperate enough. And I know that the sheriff can speak to that. But these cuts force our family, our friends, our neighbors to prioritize between the necessities that they wouldn't otherwise have to choose between. Next week, people will be forced to decide between buying groceries or filling prescriptions, or between going into work as scheduled or having to call off work so they can go visit a local food bank. If you or someone you know is impacted, resources are available. Please call the United Way at 211 or find a food bank nearest you at fbcmich.org. The Democratic AGs are doing what we can using the levers of the law to hold this administration accountable and to protect our state residents. And on a personal note, I would implore everyone who's listening to this to please do all you can. If you're able, please support your local food pantry, either through monetary donations, non-perishable food items, or with your time by volunteering. And if the prospect of tens of millions of Americans going hungry is not motivation enough for us to come together and act, then I don't know what will be. I just want to add this last thing. This money that goes to fund the SNAP program, that's our money. That's our money. We paid it in taxes. Our businesses paid it in taxes. It gets sent to the federal government where it's appropriated to the SNAP program, which comes back to us here in Michigan. Give us our money.
Thank you, Attorney General Nessel, so much for the work that you are doing and for the other 25 states that are standing with you. You gave us a lot of numbers today. You told us that 78% of Michiganders are working and still need that SNAP benefit help. You told us that over 40,000 children will possibly go hungry, that over 38,000 veterans will be affected by this. We talked about several other numbers, but the only number that really matters right now is the number one. And that number one matters because Congress and the president have one decision to make, and that is to go back to work to make sure that millions of Americans are not impacted, to make sure that over 1 million Michiganders are not impacted, and to bring it more locally, 1/3 of Flint residents are not negatively impacted. One, once again, the number one. There's one day is too much for a child to go hungry. One day is too long for a veteran who's already served our country to have to try and figure out how they will receive food. Sheriff Swanson has talked about how here in Genesee County, they serve at the ready to ensure that they work with food banks, how they are going to continue working with the Martis Luna Food Bank and other food banks around our county to ensure that residents will still have food. I stood with Mayor Sheldon Neely this morning, and we talked about how in the city of Flint, we are going to make sure that residents who receive SNAP benefits and who have also been impacted by the federal government shutdown and are unable to work right now will also continue to be able to feed their families. We are partnering with the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan and Christian Love Faith Center to hand out vouchers to those residents specifically to help supplement the food that they will be losing as a result of not getting the SNAP benefits on tomorrow. We're waiting to see the results of what's going to happen with the work that Attorney General Nestle has put in. But again, we are ready to make sure that those residents that will be impacted will receive 30 pounds of food twice a month through a voucher from the city of Flint and working with the food bank. I'm going to bring up Rev. Jasper Martis now to tell us a little bit more on the state level.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for your work in the city of Flint when it comes to doing what we can at the local level to avert this catastrophe. The cities and states are laboratories of democracy, and I think you're proving that. Thank you, Sheriff, for telling your personal story, and especially the impact with your sister. We need to destigmatize a lot of this, and thank you for keeping us safe. And to the Attorney General, who means as much to me professionally as she does personally, thank you for fighting for us every single day. So it's no secret that my last name is on this building. Ryan Martis was a distant relative who I never really got the chance to know, but when he passed away 22 years ago, my brother's middle name is named after him. And I actually know a lot more about the Lunas. And you know, you guys who are here today really have had just such a huge impact on me for keeping Ryan and Chewy's names and memories alive. You know, the small tribute that our family did was naming our dog after you guys. So we do have a dog named Luna. Based on how she acts, I don't know how much of a tribute that is to you guys, but that was at least, yeah, I know. Yeah, believe you me. But what we're here for today is just very, very sad. You know, I'm a big student of history, and Bobby Kennedy is one of my heroes. And when he was asked to summarize why he chose public service, he cited the writer Albert Camus, who said, "I may not be able to end poverty and hunger for all children, but I can make sure that less children live in poverty and less children go hungry." And I've really never seen in my brief career people taking actions that actually do the opposite. We can disagree on how can we reduce poverty and how can we make sure that we end hunger, but I've never seen people acting so flagrantly to do the opposite of what those shared values should be. And there's a real frustration when you get those phone calls, as we do in our office, as Senator Cherry gets them, and Representative Neely as well, when people are calling and they're asking what to do, and we can direct them and to reach out to food pantries. We can direct them to assistance. But the fact that they had to make that phone call, and because there is such a stigma, it was probably one of the hardest things they had to do that day. It is just so incredibly heartbreaking. So we're trying to do what we can at the state level. We've introduced legislation to try to make ends meet for a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, this is a federal issue, and we need our federal leadership to step up. There's too many people suffering right now. There's too many people that are living in poverty, that are struggling with hunger. And we can have these broad conversations about how do we make things better and how can we make improvements. But I don't know if I've seen such an issue that is totally self-inflicted. There are folks, as the previous speakers said, who can make this better, that can make a difference. And we might not be able to solve all the issues of hunger and all the issues of poverty, but there are folks deliberately working against those efforts. And that's what we need to call out today and make sure that we're here to support the members of our community today who are suffering, and tomorrow make sure that we're never in a position like this again.
So once again, we want to thank everybody for being here. And before we move any further with the question portion of this, I would like to extend a huge thank you to the Martis Luna family, because like all these folks up here talked about, they're not doing it because they're getting anything out of it. They're doing it because they have a heart. As Sheriff Swanson says, this is not a political effort. This is a biblical and moral effort, right? So let's give it up for the Martis Luna family for doing this. All these wonderful folks. I have a very, very small role. I'm just getting started, getting some things going. But again, we want to appreciate what you guys do every day. I'm talking to you guys. You know who you are. So once again, we're going to move on now to the question portion of this event. So we're going to go ahead and open up the floor. Please raise your hand if you have a question.
James?
For Attorney General Nessel, the Associated Press reported that the Trump administration says that that fund is to be used in instances of natural disasters like hurricanes and things like that. That's why they're not, one of the reasons they're not tapping into it for what we're talking about today. Any response to that?
Yeah, funny that the administration would say that when there was a shutdown the last time Donald Trump was in office. They said it was totally appropriate to use these contingency funds during the course of the last shutdown. So it's just patently false.
Appreciate it, James.
Sheriff, you brought your sister up. You know, do you want to maybe talk a little bit more about your sister and her plans for the next few weeks, or how you're going to help her and the rest of the community? I know you've talked a lot about that already. But.
I think it's important to know the question is about my own family member. Is we sit up here as leaders and we're impacted, and this is a working class community, and the people out there that are suffering, as you heard the rep say. And you heard others say there is a stigma between people who have to go and go to different places, but we as a community can lift that stigma and say, no, we're working with you together. I asked my sister before I came here if I had permission to tell that story, because I've known her my whole life. She would be here if she could say it, but she allowed me to give that story because I wanted that personal touch to know. That's why I'm so passionate about this. When you have people that are just like me and you at the highest level of decision making, it is a stroke of a pen that can impact a box of Honey Nut Cheerios. That's it. This is going to save someone's day, but people who stroke a pen and say we're not doing this or makes no decision because they want to be absent from their duties, that impacts people like my sister and people out here. So that's the story I'm telling, and that's why we will not relent. We will continue to take care of this community from every life on up.
And from a public safety standpoint, are you concerned about a possible increase in food, theft of food and things like that?
I mean, there's always a question of what people will do for desperate times. But this community has shown over and over that even through desperate times, we stick together, we coalesce, we will help you. But anybody who tries to undermine that will be dealt with, and they'll be dealt with by my office and local law enforcement. You're not going to steal from stores and ravish shelves, and we have an order here and we have a plan. But anybody who tries to disrupt that, then obviously that's not who we are. So my office and all the law enforcement, we're aware, but doing nothing extraordinary other than being aware of it. Tomorrow's patrols, we expect this community to do what's always done, but we're prepared for whatever comes.
You mentioned the numbers of the folks that are coming through here, 1 in 9 in the state of Michigan. I heard earlier 1 in 3 in the city of Flint that are dependent on this. We've seen longer lines this year. Any place I go to food banks, they say the numbers are out the door. Folks are in more desperate need. How tough is this on our community, and is this sustainable to continue this in a long-term capacity at this point?
It is not sustainable. And I'll give you an example. The Eastern Mission Food Bank, which is housed here, services 22 counties. It's not just a Genesee County need, it's 22 counties. We just happen to have a large portion of people who count on SNAP benefits, 82,200 plus. But those other places that are being tapped into, we saw this during COVID when that shut down in March and there was no Meals on Wheels, no social services. This office deployed, and we found that we're taking diapers and formula and Ensure to people all over the county who didn't know the night before if that was going to come on the next day. And so we've seen this playbook. And for those out there who think this is just all, political theater, this is real. You may not know somebody who struggles to eat and to live, but look around and I guarantee are in your neighborhoods just like they are in mine. So we're going to continue this. This is not new to us, but what this community can count on is the people behind me, and certainly within this community is we're going to be there, whatever the need is, for how long it is, but it's not sustainable. What is sustainable is the federal government doing their job.
This city went through a Flint water crisis almost a decade ago. We're now facing a hunger crisis all over again. Very similar.
Similar in the fact that no city and the city can respond. No city outside Flint during 2016 was experiencing that. And this one, the entire country is. And when you see that need throughout the country, over 40 million people, that's 4 times the size of the state of Michigan's population. And these are people who have no brothers that are sheriffs. These are people who have no Jasper Martises or an attorney general they can call up. They're wondering, where's the next step going to be? That's why we need the media to give that message. Not a message of panic, a message of we're going to take care of you while they get to doing what they should be doing. Thanks, Mike.
For Attorney General Nestle, this is in regards to the thwarted terrorist attack. What comment can you provide us on that?
So the FBI consulted with our department about this matter, and all that I'm at liberty to say right now is that I'm very grateful for the work of the FBI and their efforts to ensure that our communities are kept safe. And I'm sure there'll be further information on that matter, but I'm glad that they stepped in when they did.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all joining us today. I will be around for questions.